Hello and welcome. I am the Restless Kaiser.
I'm Jonny B.
I'm James Workshop.
I'm Brush Quill.
And together we are modelling for advantage.
I wasn't going to, I was meant to do that. That was my cue. I'm going to say that. Sorry about that. But together we are, and then you were going to say modelling for advantage. But, you know, we'll get there in the end.
We let you off almost anything you do, Jonny, don't worry.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So here we are again, Tuesday. Whoop, whoop.
Tuesday, mate. It's the new thing, isn't it? And
we're all like the other Tuesday.
Around the table, I am still building chieftains. Not the same one. Not the same one. It's an army I'm making for Jonny B to play a bit of Team Yaki later in the year.
I appreciate that. I have no idea what they do. I have no idea how it will perform on the table, but it was the quickest and easiest route to get an army down by just having lots and lots of tanks. Because I'm really good at commanding tanks. Fact.
Oh yeah.
I'm doing. Do you remember Rhizar Ruins? They're awesome. These are. And these are painted in the Kaiser style, which is a genius way of black undercoat. You dry brush it Mornfang. You pick out just a handful of the details, not all of them.
That's the big thing.
That's the biggest thing. The handful.
The black and Mornfang. A lot of people tell you to do that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Small number of the details. So A, it doesn't take you forever, but B, they get a bit overwhelming, I think, on the table when there's too much.
So I'm doing that. I've got 4 sections left from one of the starter boxes. These are slightly bigger. So I'm just working my way through those today. That's the plan. Workshop, what you want?
Chat is already going mental.
Is it already? Oh, it's Rosie.
Oh, I actually can't see it.
Hello,
there
Rosie.
It is. Hello.
So, Team Clueless Games, that's Nick, isn't it, who plays games with Clueless Mike? Hamster on a painting table, Evening Squire, Rosie Besnu, the Boobarian. Hey, evening, Rosie. Paul Beckus, good morning. What time is it over there? He's in Australia, man.
It's 12 hours, isn't it?
It's tomorrow morning over there.
Going on time zone.
And Nick Games, greetings, gents. Right. There's more come up there. James, what are you up to?
Hello. I'm working on this German sniper team. I'll be painting it this evening to the best of my ability. Yeah, the models are SS. They're not being used as that. They're just here. But it makes them all snipery and special forces-y. They're just here. They're over here.
Just over, and they're over here. Yeah. All the gags.
What are you up to, Brush and Quill?
I've got a ogre for Blood Bowl.
Oh,
okay. Can he throw a goblin?
Recognize that model?
Not on a human team, he can't. No.
Mate, what's the
Who
point?
makes that then? That wasn't a workshop one.
No.
The body is a Reaper Bones chieftain, ogre chieftain, with GW hands and head.
Ooh, okay, that's cool.
Okay, converted.
Just
Pro modeling.
Oh, we've got loads of people. We've got Rocky's War Room. They've joined us.
Yeah, mate. I was
my biggest fan.
So, Brush and Quill, where are my Babylon 5 miniatures, mate? Where are we up to?
You've got some battleships, I think, and then some made-up ships.
The made-up ships, yeah. Battleship's got to come next. Battle Knights there as well. Boots on the table with Dom and Mike. Oh, I think I've sent
Battle Knights.
Battle Knights is
Battle Knight's birthday today.
Oh, it is. Happy birthday, Jason.
Happy birthday.
Jason's painting up a special project, man, at the moment, I think, actually. We'll have to get you on here, Jason. You can tell everybody like how much of a pro painter you are, and for $1 million you'll paint them an army within a year.
Reasonable.
1 million.
$1 million. Right. So, Blood Bowl then, Callum. You're a man who dabbles in the Games Workshop, aren't you? You're not a strict Jonny B sort of Warhammer devotee, but you dabble in it.
I got the human team back when I did play Games Workshop a lot because the thrower looked like a quarterback, actually properly looked like a quarterback. And I played American football at the time, so I got the figures. And then my stepdad's really got into it, so I repainted my team to go and play whenever I'm down there.
That's awesome.
Interesting.
Speaking of which, I got war bases to do some custom display stands for them.
For Blood Bowl team?
Yeah, for Blood Bowl.
Mike Wolnoff, long-time friend of mine and former council tax evaluator, but he's got better now. He's an American football coach, like legit. More from Jason. $1 million is the mates rates, absolutely. And I love Warcry, like Jonny B. Right, Warcry, come on. I love me some Warcry. James, you played some Warcry with me. Jonny B, you've sort of blundered your way through some Warcry while someone's explained the rules to you, right?
I have, indeed.
Yeah. What about you?
What's happening with it?
Have you seen Warcry? Have you got anything to do with it?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I've only seen your videos where you've played it.
Right.
You played? I did
Yeah.
like the that's the one with the guys who have the crow raven people, right?
That's my force, or one of my forces. Yeah.
Because I thought they'd make a really good Blood Bowl team.
Right, one of them's having a whole.
You got the one crow with really long legs. Yeah, a mutations team. That'd be awesome. They'd work really well.
So Warcry, I really, really like Warcry. I can't say I'm not invested in the story. I went for the crow dude. There were, as those war bands came out, people were going mental about them, weren't they? They come out and said, "Oh yeah, I definitely want those golem dudes." And then next week they show you the crow. And it's like, I totally want the crow dudes to talk and talk. And then the serpent guys came out and just like, mate, these are brilliant. And then they're unmade. But that was what got me motivated to try it. And because when you used to run shop chains, we unboxed that on like release day in the noisy shop, didn't we? We were
I remember that.
For it.
Yeah, mega excited about it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that looking at it, you go like compared to like their fantasy armies or their Age of Sigma armies, you go, well, I think they're really good at producing small batches of models, where they don't have to think about how would this look as an entire regiment. When they only have
Warhammer
to do
Underworlds is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, six unique models.
Gorgeous.
They're amazing.
Yeah. So, question for you there, Brush and Quill. You can answer. But as I played it though, I'm so disappointed at how poorly that game has been taken up in the community. Because in terms of mechanics, I like skirmish games a lot. I like games that last an hour, and I quite like games where you don't know what your objectives are until you start. And Warcry's got all of those things. And unlike Kill Team, it's not a like dodgy port from another game. It's been built from the ground up with a different stat line. Roll a load of dice, and on sixes you win. You know, if you want to play a 1 hour game, that is how you've got to build it. You know what I mean? It's like there's a chance you do something, but on a 6, that's when you really make the difference.
Yeah, today's mission is, and the thing that I have chosen to win this game with is X. No. This card. That's what we're playing today. Off we go.
Yeah,
complete level playing field.
But there's just no engagement with it, which is a real shame. I just don't know whether it's not had the coverage, people have not tried it, or they've been put off by it. Coach and qualified referee says Mike.
Yeah,
so
I was kind of hoping that as they released armies that weren't specific to the game.
Right.
Okay.
No, I was going to say I don't know how to type a reply. So it was Greenwich Mariners I played for.
The Greenwich Mariners.
Free safety.
Yeah. So, and I really hope that they would bring that to Kill Team, because as much as I like Kill Team in terms of it takes an hour or so to play, and it's smaller scale, you're a bit more in there in the action. The rules for it are horrific. Things like the flesh wound mechanic. You've got all of the 40k rules, and then you've got some other rules to make it so that you don't just, with a bit of bad luck, lose everybody on the first turn.
And it's not quite the same as 40k. So
No.
if you do play 40k and Kill Team, especially when you're as small-minded as me, it is extremely easy to mix up the similar rules. how the damage works, blah blah blah. Yeah, painful. But I still enjoy it. It's a good laugh. Looking forward to playing it again.
I quite like the Kill Team from what I've watched of you guys, to be honest with you. I quite like this whole
it's all right.
You set out what people are doing before they do it kind of thing.
Yes.
It's a game where if you know 40k, you have to wrap your head around it, and I've never quite managed to wrap my head around the differences enough to actually like get through a game without having to ask a question every turn. So what I do in those situations normally is just play the most elite thing I possibly can, so there's less rules for me to remember, and then just lose because I've only got 3 models on the table. So
you describe that like it's an unusual tactic. That's how you play every game, James. What are the biggest models?
Yes, that is how I play every game.
Barrel into the middle, and you will all lose on turn 3. That's James.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Miniature Wargaming Warriors and Ken there. My bits are in the post. That's good to know. Thank you very much. Most disappointed though, Ken, you didn't mention the loving note I put in that parcel for you.
Did you give him a special note?
I gave him a special note. So it had Swark on the front, if anyone remembers that. Mainly if you were a schoolgirl, you would remember that. SWALK, sealed with a loving kiss. And when you opened it, and it was heart-shaped around it, when you opened it, it transformed into a small member with little hairs and things. It was the most amazing piece of art I have ever created. And he just messaged me. He just messaged me and went, "Yeah, cheers, buddy. I got the bits you sent. Thanks." And that was it.
Drawn penis.
Didn't mention the arts and crafts manual dick
nuts,
joke.
Yes, and 2 nuts. Okay, that's good. He did. He has seen it because he's just commented. Good. Right.
I would have asked when you were a schoolgirl. That's what I would have asked.
Yeah, when I was a small schoolgirl, back in the day, you know. No, I only say that because I said that to Kaiser, and he was like, "I have no idea what that means. What does that even mean?" But he showed it to Mrs. Kaiser, and she was like, "Oh yeah, it's sealed with a loving kiss." So obviously, as a schoolgirl, that was a thing. Bang.
You have to remember that Kaiser doesn't even watch Bake Off, so.
Kaiser definitely doesn't watch Bake Off now. And when Kaiser was,
remember that
everything was like black and white, and it was, you know, the wee lad riding the bike up the hill with a Hovis loaf, you know.
I'll tell you what, Kaiser eats the Bake Off though.
I was going to say, I'm going to start calling you Arkwright.
I would be deeply flattered. Man. I would be deeply flattered. So you got to look at the
don't make it like that anymore.
That is true, that Jason. What do you reckon, mate? Can we get you one here next week, Jason? We'll Carla let you play out. And 2 notes. There you go. I think he's gone back and looked at the note. Small member.
Yeah, you know, like a small willy.
Mm-hmm.
I slapped mine down on the paper and traced around it.
Just around it.
Yeah. And now you know why we do this at 10 o'clock at night. Because there is no controlling John. Do you know, I sometimes I think, you know, we did those how to learn how to play 40k videos with that Recruit Edition box. Because I work in a school, I keep thinking to myself, we should do one like for kids, you know. We should explain it with a lot more detail, put some slides up explaining the rules as we're going along, and we'll watch our mouths as we're going. And then thinking, why? Then I just encourage kids to follow our channel. I don't want the kids to see the mouse people that I hang out with, or that I am, in truth. You know,
Some of the stuff me and Kaiser have come up with, which is completely and utterly only funny to us at the time, and is so, well, it's not good. You wouldn't be able to have that stuff on the channel. It's just not, not proper.
Absolutely. Kaiser is that right? Then Jonny B is Granville.
Mm-hmm.
Mate,
I am Granville, yeah.
He's half Hungarian, you know. You haven't seen your parcel yet, mate. Hey.
Oh, I hope it's a dildo.
True story. Speaking of dildos, here we go. So my working class family, you know, they will do things for a laugh. And one of the things that my mother did at one point, is she had an Ann Summers party for her relatives, and many sisters came round.
Awkward.
We were kicked out the house while they did this. My extremely prudish, she's unfortunately she died very young. She died at 40. My Aunt Linda, very prudish woman. She was persuaded to buy a toy from this Ann Summers party.
Nice.
The way Ann Summers things work is somebody else arranges for you to host it in your house, and they do all the deliveries and so forth. So this woman sends a 13-year-old boy round on his push bike to my Aunt Linda's house to deliver this dildo. But my Aunt Linda's not in.
Right.
So what does this improvising teenager do? Leaves it with the next door neighbour.
Oh, well, kudos to you, mate. I mean, you know.
I assume it wasn't in discreet packaging.
It was in an Ann Summers bag, and presumably it was reasonably woolly shit, but larger. I mean, I don't know.
Just in a freezer bag, like, you know, see everything, all the veins and
Ziploc.
It's like that poor woman on BBC Wales.
Yeah, we're here for the wargaming chat, right?
Yes, that's what we were doing. Yes, wargaming things.
Serious wargaming.
What can we talk about? Stuff.
What do you mean? I'm keeping up with the comments. Oh, John, you're here for the boyish good looks. So,
I did my annual swap-a-rooney. This is something I do. Yeah, what I do is I get my work in progress bench.
Yes.
And I put some of them away in a case, and then I get some models out of that case and put them on there, which were previously on there and were put back in the case from the previous swap-a-rooney I did. And that's how it keeps going. And then in between doing all that swap-a-rooney I'll grab something completely irrelevant off of a shelf over there and paint it up. So that's what I've been doing.
You finished some Delight Gangers or something for your
I did, yes. I finished Inquisimunda. Will I ever play it? I hope so. Realistically, most probably not. It's going to be hosted in Milton Keynes. Am I going to drive over there? Most probably not. But it's been fun. And to be fair, it has whipped up my painting juices, as it were. Because I go through lulls and you know, peaks and troughs of the hobby. I'm sure we all do. And it has been quite fun to make Cenobites out of the lap gangers. It's been quite fun. Oh yeah, Jason's like, live rampant nights? No, mate, I did one and that was it. 5 left to do. There's plenty of projects that I should be doing, but I'm not.
Just talking about things going ahead, have we seen that we got a new date for Salute?
Have we?
Yeah, really?
13th of November, I think.
21?
Something like that.
Something like that. 21 or 22?
No. I mean, sorry, I thought you meant like 21 as in the 21st. Yeah, 13th.
No. Oh, well, yeah, that's normally when it's held. Yeah, that was a bit of a I hope that is. I hope that is true, but I also feel that might actually be, funnily enough, when the pandemic increases again.
Yeah, no. So
because
I bought my ticket, you see, before it was cancelled, I got an email saying your ticket is valid. This is the date.
Boots on the Table with Dom says, yep, 13th of November. Just confirming the date there.
Nice.
So Mike Walnutt, a friend of mine's been playing a bit of BattleTech. I did get the rookie set, and James has actually painted this up already.
Awesome.
So one of the things that was in the pipeline around Christmas. But Mike Walnutt just reported to me at the weekend that they played a game with 3 mechs, and it took 5 hours. At which point I was like, right, this is not the game for me. I'm out. Bin that model, mate. Just toss it.
Nope.
Don't they play that all the time on Hellcorrex?
On what?
It's
On the
one of them
Hellcorrect channel.
flipping channels. Like nobody's heard of ever.
50 subscriber channels, and 3 of them are his accounts.
Yeah.
He's got like 20k. What you need is under me. You just need a banner.
Gorilla Miniatures are playing it at the moment. Gorilla Miniatures has just done the beginner set that we were looking at. Literally like a week ago, they released that video. I'm still excited to do it. But they've been playing a lot of Alpha Strike, and they've actually been getting the games done pretty quick. So
I realised they edit the videos, so it might actually be quite a bit longer.
I had not noticed that, Johnny. I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, that's what they do. I heard.
We like the real time editing.
Oh. You just start the camera at the beginning and leave it at the end, don't you? Just try not to swear in the middle.
We do, yeah.
Mate, setting high goals there. What's this? Says Jonny B. What have you asked for your birthday? Yes, the beautiful Jonny B will be 19 in a couple of weeks' time.
19. Oh, for your birthday.
Oh,
what have I asked for? Okay, this is a tough one. I don't know if all of you have got to this stage yet. Comes around to your birthday or Christmas, and you have absolutely no idea. If you wanted it, you've already bought it.
You bought a lot of things
right, because you wanted
already, right?
Yeah, but I wanted it, right? Yeah. So it's mine now, Dave. So what I've gone and done is, because, you know, pressure is applied, you've not got long until your birthday. What the hell do you want, John B, you ginger spanner?
Yeah. Is this our third story of the night? Is this going to get weird?
Well, I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that one from Ken. Hopefully, please let it be a Willy.
Custom painted.
So
Willy.
Warlord Games, right? Last year, and I'm sure this is quite common, but I don't get out of the house very often. They do that special secret box thing of stuff.
Oh, mate, you didn't buy one of them, did you?
Really? Yes, I did. Yep.
They started doing it. Mate, it's a way of them getting rid of old
I have bought a box of warehouse clearance, and I love it.
Well, they guarantee 1 free unit, which will be some Ashigaru spearmen or something.
I'm gonna get 6 more British infantry out of it without weapons, if there's anything to go by, looking at some of the videos there. So that's cool. Some random Misha Schmitz, 2 laser pens. Yes,
you should sign up to those like loot crate things.
Yeah.
Johnny, you should sign up to like those ammo crate, loot crate things.
Yeah, that is a thing, but that's like, you know.
Yeah, that is just adding
like
stuff.
A lucky bag. Utter pish. Don't ruin my birthday dreams, guys. Come on. It's a box full of awesomely random presents that, you know, it's all going to be an awesome surprise, and I will love it all equally, I am sure.
You should have asked me. I would have sent you one for probably half the price of just random sprues.
I mean, feel free.
Yeah, some cash. I'll give you 10 sprues and some dice.
Yeah, randomly. Yeah.
Got some unbuilt Eldar around here somewhere.
It's not random. They're telling me it's not
Where's
random.
That 199 introductory copy of the Warhammer magazine? I've got some sprues.
Yeah. The wall.
I've got 90% of a Cortez somewhere, I think.
Yeah. It's a lucky bag.
I know.
Ish. Yeah, I mean, mate, totally warehouse clearance.
I love it.
Listen while I drive. Okay, let's just keep it smooth, guys. We don't want David injuring himself in his car. I'm starting to say, no.
You're going to start needing to put a disclaimer at the start.
Yeah. Absolutely. I've caught up with a chat. Woo!
Watch your mouth, hamster. It's not a box of rubbish. It's a box of joy.
Box of joy, mate. I don't know.
Dom, I'm down for that.
You're going to get some of that Warlords of Erewhon, but one of their own factions.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll get some like Antari sprues from the starter set.
No,
I wouldn't mind that.
You get, what else are you going to get? You're going to get something from potentially made out of resin from their aeroplane game.
I hope I get
Wings of Glory.
I hope I get the Portland.
Mate, you are getting the Portland for your birthday.
Oh, you're giving it back to me. I get the broken Portland. I'm going to turn that into a proper smashed up boat. Defunct Terminator game. Funny enough, Hamster, I've got that, and I like that game. Their game, Terminator Genesis.
And you paid a new army for it recently?
Not recently for it, but I've got more than enough minis to be able to play it. It's a fun little game. Well,
I saw a review of it in War Games Illustrated, and it looked quite good.
Yeah. It's dead now,
I forgot they did black powder. You're going to get some black powder, Black Seas, plastic ships. You're going to have to sellotape the fucking sails onto.
You're not going to get resin ones, I'm telling you. As rubbish.
I played a couple of games back when I was working with Jason on Battle Knights. We played a couple of games then when it was still fresh. Like, you know, Terminator Genesis. Sorry, I'm half reading the comments as I go as well. So.
Yeah, so I thought we'd moved on to Black Seas there. That's what confused me.
You mostly had, to be fair.
I remember you played Terminator Genesis at the shop once. So, like, you booked the front table, played some Genesis. It looked pretty interesting, to be honest. I think you did. I've got no reason to have seen you playing it other than if you did it at the shop.
This is true.
The only problem with playing those sorts of games in a public space is that you spend half your life talking to people coming over going, so what's this then?
So, has anybody looked at this?
A little bit as we go.
It's Warlords of Erewhon. They've got I'm being Aztec
threatened
now.
Yeah. What do you think of them? I don't know what to think. I don't play Warlords of Erewhon, but they've got them. What's the other faction, James? There was two, wasn't there?
The two new ones. I don't know. There's loads of them. It's a really weird game because it's like you could play dwarves versus samurai. So it put me off, to be honest.
That's cool. Dwarves versus samurai is awesome.
I mean, I think I probably would have thought that was awesome when I was 11.
Yeah.
I think that's where I get a bit lost.
Sounds like one of those phone games where you had like plants versus zombies and samurai versus zombies, samurai versus dwarves.
I mean, you can kind of see what they've done as well, because it is literally like a bunch of kits from different companies all strapped together with some rules in the middle. It's like there's some Frostgrave, there's some Oathmark, there's some Ghost Archipelago.
Yeah, that's because that's what Warlord is. They collect different companies under one rule set.
Yeah, I'm increasingly becoming sort of endeared to that sort of gaming though, where it's like, here's a book, here's a rough set of rules, go and pick whatever you want. You can have goblins and dwarves running around together or whatever.
Yeah.
But isn't Oathmark better for that?
Well, I mind. A lot of people going like nuts about the Osprey. I mean, I know he's in here. Jason's massively a fan of the Osprey game.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan too. I know.
I just think the rules are crap. Is the problem with those games?
Yeah. Well, you're quite a connoisseur of.
They're very old school. Here's a chart of what happens when you do this. It's just like I'm not. That's not what fast play rules are like to me.
Yeah, I think some of them do maybe miss the mark, but the ones that I've played so far, like I've enjoyed Dragon Rampant, Lion Rampant. I don't. How did you feel about Frostgrave, Kaiser? Because we had a little dabble, didn't we?
Yeah, I just felt it was really clunky. I didn't feel it was a terrible game. It just felt like a 25, 30-year-old game. And they don't need to be like this anymore. You know?
I know that the models got slated a bit, but I quite like the rules for Test of Honor, where you had successes on the dice and you just rolled, and if you got 3 samurai swords, you had 3 successes and you'd pass the test. That was it.
Yeah. But Test of Honor is the precursor to Mortal Gods, which James and I played. So,
which has a similar
same system, yeah. It's the
interesting. Same. We've got comments for and against the Osprey there, which is good because it means that people have got an opinion.
Yeah.
Yay!
I think the thing about Osprey is that it's every book is someone new writing a book, so you're going to have a massive variety of rules. Osprey is just a publisher. It's not. They're not rules creators. It's going to be massively inconsistent. So you can easily it's like saying I like Osprey would be the same as saying I like Warlord and I like Flames of War and I like Warhammer. They're just.
But I like random. I see what you mean there. Yeah. Okay.
I like a rule.
That is a fair comment.
Is that not what people are saying? I like Osprey. I like a rule set for a tenner.
If you already have models and you want to try a different set of rules, they're really good. I really like the Chosen Men rules, but seem to be the only person that does. So,
I think the only Osprey game I've ever looked at with any seriousness is Gaslands. So, no idea.
Which again, I think stylistically, I really like the look of, and I started looking at the rules, thinking, "Oh my god,
really?
Yeah,
this is not how you do it. This is how we did it when 25, 30 years ago."
But I don't see how you can do a car game like that without starting to get complex. Because you are doing skids, handbrakes, and
actual
momentum,
remote control cars. That's how you do it. That fire matchstick.
It was barely an advancement on Dark Future, which was like 1988 from Games Workshop. It was very similar.
But you'll probably find that the people that wrote it were fans of Dark Future.
There you go.
It's like if you look at all the games written, like it openly says in the start of Black Powder that it's been written by a set of people that get together and play games and just happen to get the rules published. So
you can say that. It is about Rick Priestley, so that's not quite sincere, is it? The rules are in fact Games Workshop's. What was it called? Their 10 mil fantasy game.
What was?
Epic? Oh no,
Warmaster.
Black Powder is basically Warmaster, yeah. I've seen Rick Priestley being saying as much.
Warhammer Historic actually carried on a hell of a lot longer than most people think it did. It ran to the mid 2000s. They were still making rules for it. It started as a historic game, and then that's what the Bretonnians are. It's basically just, oh look, questing knights. We might go fantasy with this eventually.
Be interested to see what they do, because they're meant to be bringing them back, aren't they?
Oh, they did bring them back, but they brought them back from the dead. As the dead.
No, isn't there like teasers about the new Bretonnia or something?
Oh, they're doing that project, the old world thing, where they're sort of that is a thing. I don't know how far along they are with that project, but
that's just
they're
fantasy,
looking,
isn't it?
Proper old school Warhammer Fantasy. Anyone got any comments from Carl Rogers? I think that was his name. About Dark Angel. Anyone care? Give a toot about Dark Angel.
Sorry, I just read that.
I'm really looking forward to the second edition of that. And I've heard Dom waxing lyrical about how that game is totally loaded against the Romans. But that's an easy fix, right? With balance. One Alpha. I'm not sure what that is.
I don't know anything about the new Dark Angels release. I'm out of the loop completely on 40k at the moment.
Yeah, sorry, Carl. They did say that they're quite overpowered. Clueless Mike, in a few private conversations, was saying that just super powerful. Having OBSEC,
Terminator,
and is it the Ravenwing as well? I think they might be doing it, and they've all got transhuman physiology as a sort of standard.
But it's nice to see, because when they switched to 8th edition, the Terminators got kind of screwed a bit. They lost their special ability, and the Blood Angels gained it. It was a bit weird.
Yeah. I don't know.
So it's nice to see them have the special Terminators again.
Warmaster Ancients. Interesting.
Yeah, and as I say, I literally listened to Rick Priestley saying that's exactly what he did whilst playing with the Perry twins. He just amended his Warmaster system.
I mean, it's not exactly the same, but I can see the link there. So,
yeah, it's been adapted for sure. which is why Bolt Action is, or Warhammer and so forth. And it's why these systems are all so familiar. But I don't deviate from that. This is what I need to hit, and that's what your armor save is. I'm not fixed to that. Just think if you're going to do something different to that, you need to make it better. What's the point? And when I see a book which has got a load of charts and tables in it, and I just think to myself, this isn't better at all. This isn't slicker. Whereas, for example, Warcry, which I keep going on about, it doesn't have defensive rolls of any type, and it's much slicker because of it. It's much fancier. It still has defense values, but they're passive values against. There's no opposed dice rolling, and I understand people put opposed dice on like armor saves or whatever in various games, so that the opponent's turn you're not entirely passive. And there's been a long move in war games to try and make the other guy's turn you have some involvement in it. And an armor save is a simple fix to that. But actually, it really slows the game down. It really, really slows the game down. As soon as you pass control of play to somebody else and they have to roll dice, make decisions, look at numbers. And, Warhammer really suffers from that. It's got chains of dice to roll that are rolled by different people and so forth. And it makes it very, very slow. But it can work in a small-scale game. But one of the things I've learned in a lot of board games that had combat in that only took an hour or so to play was like one dice roll, get a result. One dice roll, get it. Or turn a card, get a result. That's. You
mean like Risk?
The Risk roll millions of dice.
Millions.
I roll dice. We compare them. We then do it again. We then do it again. You then add more troops. It goes on forever. Risk. That's the problem.
But the thing is if you think about the dice rolling in like Warhammer 40k or Warhammer, it doesn't really make sense on a logic on a system of the fact that you roll to see if you hit them, and then you roll to see if that hit did anything, and then you roll to see if their armor. Logically, it doesn't make sense. It would make more sense as a 2 dice roll. I hit you. Did you save it? 2 dice done. Makes more sense logically.
Yeah. Yeah, the armor save coming at the end.
All right, Spock. Jesus.
I think the armor save coming last though was a concession to I will finish my dice rolling chain and then I will pass you to roll your dice rolling chain.
Yeah, but it's
logical in terms of what's happening. It's logical in terms of playability.
It's to give people hope that they can pull it away at the last minute. That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
So moany, God.
Well, yeah. So a little bit lower with the hamster. I think when you have a dice system where you oppose each other, there tends to be a lot of stats involved in that. So if you're both rolling a dice at roughly the same time to oppose the same thing, then you've probably just looked at a chart to find out who won that, which just takes time away from the game again.
Yeah.
And interesting, we talk about the importance of like realism or accuracy. And mate, I've got a god's eye view of a bowling green board with some soldiers running about doing exactly what I want. There is nothing realistic about what's happening here.
Yeah, my literal orc is hitting your literal elf. Let's work out how that went.
Yeah.
Quit whining.
Yeah.
I mean, in Drop Zone, you don't have a save. In Drop Zone, you roll to hit, you roll to damage. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. But you do have charts though. My firepower is your defensibility.
Yeah, only for the damage bit, but yeah.
Right, so that's it. Kaiser is only playing Warcry from now on. That is it.
Official statement.
Yeah, exactly. So play tested SPQR. I think the thing about that though, play testing, because Games Workshop managed to get this wrong. And you think about the size of that company and the lead time of their products, and they release stuff and it's broken on release. And I don't think it is intentional, because there's often like day one, or a week later, there's an FAQ when it's been released to the community. I think there's a part of a problem with play testing is people play within lanes. So if you were to give James Workshop an army to play with, he would play it very differently to how John would play it, to how I would play it. And the weakness that emerges is like, well, if you play James style and you just barrel into the middle of the board immediately, that may work. But if you don't do that, the army may be terrible. And that may not seem like a good idea. So I think sometimes when things are horribly unbalanced, it's perhaps because playtesters play within their lanes. and there's not thousands of them. There's dozens of them. But the problems don't emerge. And when people are unfamiliar with the rules, maybe saying the Romans are crap in this game. So, well, if half the playtesters, the person who took the rules and learnt the game and then taught it to the other guy was the one who played the Romans because he was into it, then that's going to skew numbers as well, isn't it? But I don't think war games have yet quite got fully embraced the need to hotfix and to patch. Warhammer's started to do it a couple of times a year, but games like Bolt Action, they really should be having 6 monthly errata and FAQs and so forth. They're very big games that are widely played. We had a thing. We had a game with motorcycle infantry which got shot at, and we had looked at the rules to try and work out what they did. Do you remember? It was a while back. And there was many possible interpretations as to what was happening here, even though there was a second.
It was a continuous loop. It did get settled, I think. One of the viewers actually pointed out how it worked. But
an answer from a viewer, it wasn't referenced anywhere in a rule.
Well, true. That's also a fact. But yeah, it just felt like a vicious loop where we were chasing. They're treated like cavalry. Go to the cavalry section. Oh, they're treated like infantry when in this circumstance, and it was just a vicious circle. But our interpretations of the rules is quite interesting at the best of times.
The issue with it is, with that, I think what came up is because I didn't know what I was doing, is that motorcycle infantry had no value remaining on the bikes once it was going to be shot at. And you can get off the bikes for free. You just can't get back on them. I got into that bizarre circumstance that I was very forward with them, and they had to go down and they were still on their bikes, although they used all the road there was on the battlefield. So actually, this wouldn't normally happen. This would be extremely rare circumstance. They shot, forced to go down or retreat, who knows, failed an order check. And if they'd been dismounted, they would have been just infantry. Anyway, it's an odd one. I think they get rushed out. It's Infamy and Clash of Spheres. Well, yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Yeah.
Trying to beat your competitor always leads to... You see it in the computer game world as well, that they rush out a game to go against a competitor game, and it's not, and it needs a day one patch.
Yeah.
I mean, the only game I can think of where Games Workshop were open about doing really, really hard playtesting was Underworlds, and it came out very well. So when they do it correctly, they come up with good rules. They were talking about open playtesting that, so they had like events where they would have 100 people in a room playing 50 games of Warcry, and then they'd find out what the issues were, fix them. 3 months later, they'd come back, another different 100 people, find more problems, fix them. And they did that for a while.
Look at the variety of games we have now, though. Considering it, and it's really nice the fact that it covers everybody and their wants and needs. I think the likes of Kaiser that wants simplicity, the likes of Callum who wants whatever, James who wants goblins, and me that just wants to roll dice and make pew pew noises. It covers all of that, and I think that's a tremendously good thing to have in a hobby like ours. And looking at some of the comments as well, I don't know if you saw. There was one there just a moment ago, Callum. It was like, I love the look of Drop Zone Commander. That's one of your favourite games there. But I just can't get engaged with it. And I think
it helps if you're engaged with the fluff. Like I love the whole backstory of aliens turned up, destroyed Earth, we ran away, and this is us coming back to reclaim Earth. I love that whole idea behind it, and I think that really helps engage with the game. In fact, it also helps if you play it regularly. So that's what me and my teammates play. So
just repetition, like anything else.
Yeah, I stopped playing 40k, and I have no interest in going back to it because I don't play it regularly. Doesn't mean I don't like the models. I just don't have no interest in playing it because I don't play it.
Yeah. Well, that's the funny thing about being in the YouTube scene, though, isn't it? Is you're so much more sort of connected with what's going on. What was one of the ones I would say as an example would be, and the Boots on the Table with Dom and that whole crew there. Muskets and Tomahawks is a game that I would know nothing about ordinarily, and there's a lot of interest from people in the sort of historical games. And it's interesting what the whole social media and YouTube has done for gaming, because in some ways it's made things like the Two Fat Lardies, everybody's heard of them. Now their games are pretty niche. They're not like other people's games. They write a set of rules which is based upon rolling a whole bunch of dice that then tells you what you might be able to do. And that's different. That's really different. That's not like roll a d6, move that many units even. You don't even know what actions they can take until you've made that command roll.
Oh, wow.
They would not be. But the point is that most people involved in wargaming have heard of the Two Fat Lardies. They know Rich. You know, they might not have tried it yet. They might not know much about the rules, but they know what they're about. And I find that aspect of it is really good. But in the flip side of it is just how much more competitive most games, I think, have become. Because people have got really high-level play to compare against. I think the really casual nature of a lot of games, and maybe we see the wrong end of that as YouTubers. You know, we do a Warhammer game, and we get criticised because we don't really know what we're doing, and we're not playing C format. You know, it's like, what the heck are you doing, guys? You know, how can you play that without plasma guns and stuff like that? But people's expectations, I think, have a really premium level game experience in terms of rules understanding. And I find that that's not the case with a lot of the World War II historical, but it is with a lot of the games like Warhammer, and some of the Napoleonic guys get a bit funny like that as well. And I just find it quite an interesting thing.
I think people expect the accuracy just to be somewhere else with bolt action. They'd rather that you had like this force is from summer of 1944 perfectly. Don't make a mistake, or I will complain.
Yeah,
that's where the accuracy is rather than the rules.
But it's interesting that those people then don't go and then, like you were talking about the Romans earlier, Kaiser. You know, if you get that person like, this is like the force that came over to invade Britain, they won't then fight as the Romans fought. Then they'll go off and they'll do whatever tactics they think is best. They won't be like that. They must fight this way. You know, it's weird where that line merges.
Well, if you ever want to know what's wrong with wargaming as a historical representation, the Romans went and conquered the world with their fighting style, and it doesn't work on a wargames table. No. Like, the Republican Roman system has got 3 lines of infantry. Nobody's deploying an army 3 units deep in a wargames table.
No.
It's not going to work because the rule systems are not going to allow those units to give sufficient benefit to one another. Allows them to just mulch the center of their opponent, and then their army collapses. And that's how Rome conquered the world. Well,
we've discussed in the past about the distance between the front and the second line of cavalry in a regiment, and the fact that in most war games, you know, that second line of cavalry is far too close.
Yeah. In the Waterloo movie, there's quite a good cavalry charge, and you see it's much more like they're literally like wavy waves, and they're a couple of 100 yards apart because they've got to come back. That's one of those things about cavalry. You're thinking, no, its job is not to plow the horse and rider into a man and kill him. That's not what's happening here. You run out of cavalry really quickly, you know. They're going to look like they're going to do that, but they're not really going to do that. What are they going to do?
I was going to say, I was watching a thing, I can't remember what it was, but about how many cavalry charges in history have actually hit home, and they reckoned it was like 1% or something.
It depends on defining hit home. Hit home, if the other team runs and then you stab them all in the back while they run away, that is what cavalry is for.
Yeah, no, as in, you know, hit formed men, you know,
that's
lance or whatever. Yeah, no.
Because everyone involved is going to die. Yeah, well, I mean, we've had these conversations before, haven't we? I think the John Keegan did a book, didn't he, called The Face of Battle, which was quite interesting. It was all about the personal accounts of soldiers to try and get to the bottom. Because you have a perception of what happens on a battlefield, but it's clearly not what happens. I mean, a few of the really good examples, the Pike Push is another one, you know, and again, we've talked about this before and said, okay, here's 500 men with 18-foot long spears, all pointing forwards, walking into another group of 500 men, all spears pointing forwards, and they're going to move towards each other, and they're going to press the weight of men into them. So why are there not 1,000 kebabbed men? Why did that not happen?
Yeah,
because that's
I mean, I read a book once
No, come on. Not all of it. We looked at the pictures.
Historically,
was it the hungry caterpillar?
Something like that, yeah. Something about a chicken or something, and the sky was falling down. I don't know what that was.
But talking of good
it
books,
wasn't an Ann Summers summer catalog.
the psychology of military incompetence. That's a good one.
Oh, I wrote that one.
The drinking, yeah.
Look again. See, there's been a lot of tabletop simulator going around recently.
I was talking to Kaiser about that. I was like, "Oh, you could do that." Some of the dudes in the group are doing simulator, but yeah, it seems like a lot of faff for setup.
Download some dodgy Ukrainian graphics pack and stuff. Not sure about that. Kiora from New Zealand.
Pick and mix.
You cheeky monkey.
Hey, when you get one of them from Warlord Games, mate.
What, pick and mix?
That's what I've got. Mine was 45 quid. How much was yours?
About like a tenner at most? That's only because I put some Haribo in.
This is one of the Australian legends, isn't it, Paul?
Oh, Paul, by the way, that guy you put me onto, that singer, I downloaded. I bought his album. It's cracking listen.
Rick Astley?
Curnow. No, I've got his album too. Lee Curnow. Something like that. It's Lee the one he played at the start of his videos, about Passchendaele.
Passchendaele. The tragedy of Passchendaele. And after the Battle of the Somme, Lloyd George insisted that they didn't do it again. So in 1917, we did it again. Right, we have got only a few minutes remaining, chaps. 8 minutes to go.
Oh, boo!
Quick.
This is an experiment for us. What we're hoping to do is to switch. Obviously, you're always going to have me and the boy Ginger here. But we're going to switch out the MFA and the special guest from week to week. And next week, we have lined up our own Antipodean expert.
What's that word mean?
Western Australia, covered in cane toad fluid, is Harry from Fog of War. He's going to come and talk to us about Flames of War and Team Yankee, mate.
That's awesome. Perhaps he can school me on how to win and stuff.
The man is talented, but he's not that talented. We're going to switch out next week. We're going to switch out Callum for Harry. I'm trying to line up a series of other YouTubers, essentially, obviously, and to have a bit more of a topic each week, so you're not just watching us building the same models. Where did you get to then, John? Where did you get up to?
So I've got all of the detail parts on. When I say all of them, all of the ones that I chose. So a couple of bronze grills and a couple of silver handles here and there. And I'm just applying the Agarax, the bottled talent, to those metal parts. So, yeah, I've made a bit of progress, which is nice.
None of the Space Marine people talk about null, but Agarax is where the pros go, man. Now, what about you? What have you been up to today?
I've got most of the base coating done. I think I've got to do some suspenders, and then it's time for Agarax, I think. Just
pro move, man. Pro move.
Callum, who's barely moved a muscle during the entire video, is going to produce some models.
I bet he's based an entire army and made a new army.
I felted this dinosaur during this.
Yeah, no. I finished the purple and I finished the yellow.
Yay!
That model you showed us at the beginning, man.
Well, I've got some teeny Scotsman if you want. Do you want some teeny Scotsman?
Teeny Scotsman.
You need tiny Scotsman.
Catch up with the chat. 2 giant spiders for Warhammer Quest.
Nice.
There's a new one coming out, isn't it? It's got like evening, lads. Yep. Hello. A Mythos just turning up there at the end. Hello, beautiful people. In terms of who do live streams who've been on the show, there's a lot of YouTubers. I've tried to mention them as they come up. Frost and Fist do a live show on a Friday in the middle of the night from here in UK. I think it's about 2:30 UK time. And obviously the guys from the Plastic Crack podcast, they do theirs at 9 o'clock on a Monday. That was yesterday. Is it 9 o'clock, guys? Do you want to tell them? Plastic Crack podcast? Not quite sure.
Plug yourself, ladies and gents.
Get them to do their own advertising now, aren't you?
Mate, absolutely. It just shows that they're not here. Look, they've shut off. They're not
Gone.
to just respond. I finished a mask, a pouch, and tidied up the doggo.
Tidied up after the doggo. So my dog, or our dog, Little Belle, at the moment, she gets bored.
Oh. Right, Johnny comes in on his phone, and if you press
Rosie's
the back
finished
arrow,
tidying up the dog.
what's happened is he interacts with his phone and cut himself out. Beautiful.
I'm sure it's not the dog that's done that.
No, he's got this tiny little dog. I would say it was a rescue dog, but it's like one that somebody else didn't want, so John just looked after it. He's a proper sucker for all that kind of stuff. Keep my eye on the thing, see if it comes back again. I think. The whole website, webcam, and microphone and so forth. I've had 2 emails from Logitech this week, interestingly. The first one saying that they have cancelled all orders and hope to resume deliveries in March. And the second one saying that mine will be delivered on Thursday.
Guess you'll find out Thursday.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's a Brexit thing. And the fact that the whole world needs webcams at the moment. So does anybody, obviously, if you were to ask anybody about a half-decent webcam that doesn't cost the earth, they tell you the Logitech C920.
I think they just came back into stock on Amazon, not to promote them, but
if they did, they were into it afternoon. Yeah. And anybody suggest any others? Any other, plug and play, reasonable quality, not too expensive webcams? I'll be grateful because I realise the sound and the video on this is really bad. Yeah, John, you know, oh yeah, you can talk.
My phone overheated and was like, it come up and disconnected me because my phone overheated. So apologies about that. Something I'll have to change in the future.
The phone is also light sensitive then, it's not just you.
What?
Sorry. Too cryptic.
You're a ginger, Johnny. You're ginger. Just as a joke.
Oh, yes.
Be mean to you because you're a ginner. Yeah, frosted fist there. Okay, there we go. Jonny B just tapped out. No, it looks like he's back. Yeah, so next week, Harry Flames of War, Team Yankees, we're going to talk about. And hopefully you will enjoy that. He's working on a Soviet Team Yankee army for a tournament, allegedly.
Okay.
He just put up a new video today.
Yeah. He's been doing it. He's been doing like a vlog type thing of it. So we'll hopefully see. So if you want to see more of us, there will be a video on Friday of some description, something recorded from way before the lockdown, probably, or maybe James's tank review. I'm not sure quite yet. What can people expect from you on your channel this week, Brush and Quill?
I've got the 6mm Scots coming up with history.
With some history. We love ourselves a bit of history. All right, folks. That's it from us. Thank you for watching. Bye.